Hello again. Been a long weekend, 7-hour class on Saturday morning. Had a show open, so I didn't get out to the movies as early as I'd like, but kind of capped off the weekend. I actually have to think to remind myself today is Sunday when I'm recording this. But finally got out to the movies. So I really enjoyed The Shallows from last year. I know a lot of people had problems with it, and it does get goofy at the end. I do agree with that criticism, but I did enjoy it. I felt it was a good person versus nature kind of story. I did have issues with it, but in the end, it was a decent film. And I think this one is trying really hard to be kind of a spiritual successor to it without, kind of like going with the whole aliens thing. It's trying not to be, sharks. And I think I should specify, kind of like I did at the top of the Wonder Woman review, of kind of saying, this is not a bad movie. It's just not particularly a good one. I can't say I hate it, but I can't say I like it. I think it's got issues. I think, yeah. I'll start off with some good things. It's got an interesting idea, but I think it falls into a very simple trap that a lot of these horror films fall into, and that is, in attempting to give its characters character, they become just cliches. I want to specify this by saying I've always liked Mandy Moore as an actor. I liked her as an actor since I saw her in A Walk to Remember. Sappy picture, but I thought she was very good in it, and I thought she's done fairly well. She's a fairly decent actor. I don't think she's ever going to win an Academy Award, but I think she's decent. I don't know much about the other girl in this, but she wasn't bad. The cast wasn't terrible, but I think where The Shallows, and I hate kind of doing a review and saying always comparing it to another film, but I think when they're this similar, they're you need it as a base of reference. I think what made The Shallows a little bit better is that because it just had one actor primarily, it was one person, you didn't have to worry about insipid dialogue. I made the joke, or Matt and I make the joke back and forth, that The Mummy should have been called Looking for Nick, because that's all they, that's like the line they say them that much the whole time. This one's title should have been I'm so scared we're gonna be okay. They say that like 500 times in this movie, and it just gets cliche. And every time you hear, a young lady going, I'm so scared, my generation, the first thing you think of is the Blair Witch Project. And, that's not a great comparison, because I didn't like the Blair Witch Project either. I think the actors do a decent enough job, but, they're saddled with just a lot of cliche lines, a lot of cliche situations, and very cliche character things. Okay, let's start at the beginning. One thing I hated about The Shallows, and I hate about this movie, is that it would have been better if we didn't know as much about these characters. If if they were just people, we didn't have to know their whole backstory. And I thought that was something they had a problem with in The Shallows. Now here, we don't know their whole backstory, they don't tell us everything, but what they tell us is information that's supposed to propel them into the situation that they're in. And it is the stupidest reasoning I've ever heard of. Basically, there's two sisters are on vacation in Mexico because Mandy Moore's boyfriend broke up with her because he bored her. So her more outgoing sister, because there's a character stock type that we haven't seen 100 times, convinces her that this would be good to make him jealous. And because of that, she stupidly does it. They go on a shark boat cage thing that is not run by a reputable firm. It's some guy running it out of a rusty boat, with a rusty cage and a rusty winch. And then, surprise, surprise, shit goes wrong. So what I'm getting at is that the information we're given about these characters is only there to serve as the weakest motivation to go and do something this fucking stupid. And I'm sorry, folks, but to me, going down in a shark cage, even under ideal circumstances, is fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I don't get the appeal of it. Maybe it's because I'm from a part of the world where you have to have a little bit more respect for nature, because it can in fact kill you. And I'm not even talking about carnivores. I'm talking about fucking moose. Okay, you got to be aware of the moose. So I'm not one to say, hey, what's going to be fun? Let's go into a dangerous predator's natural habitat and annoy it. And the idea of them going and doing this because of such flimsy reasoning is just it already starts you off on a negative note. It already starts you off with, oh, well, that's not good. And going with this disreputable thing and this a rusted old boat, thing not recommended by the hotel and all that is done to basically serve as reasoning for why all this shit just keeps going wrong and why they can't save them right away. But again, what they think is setting up conflict is actually just making it seem stupider. Because after a few tries and misses, the thing just gets laughable that they're, all this shit is just failing so miserably. So I think the biggest problem this film has is that it falls back on the cliches. It does it because they think they're building tension, and in fact, they're not building tension. They're just making the film seem hokier. That works against it. I don't know. As I'm sitting there watching, I'm just like, what? Why did we need all that? Couldn't it have just been like two girls on vacation? Does the one have to have a boyfriend who left her? Do they have to have, some kind of issue they have to work? Can it just be like two sisters who are friends? There's no things they gotta work through. We don't need that to drive the plot. We don't need this, oh, Mandy Moore's character is always so meek and mild, but this is going to make her into a survivor, and she's going to have a character arc. To me, a film like this, and a situation like this, survival is the character arc. That's really all you need. You don't need the rest of it. And, to me, I think you could have just as much drama if the boat was run by a company or something, and something went wrong. I think it would have worked as well. And again, this is not to say that the film is bad. It's not to say that it's a terrible movie. I've definitely seen worse. I've seen worse recently. I think the film does do some things well. I think it really does, at least in the early goings before you kind of get tired of it. It really does kind of give you that wonderful suspense of, especially being confined in a dark place where you can't see around you, knowing that there is something big out there that wants to hurt you. It takes the shark movie thing and turns it on its head a little bit, because in other shark movies, it's always this thing of, you're out in a big wide space and there's a thing under you that wants to get you. So that's bad. But here it's like you're down in its territory, you're in a confined space, which is the cage, it's dark as hell, you can't see where it's coming from, and it could come out of the shadows at any time. Which I think was a clever way to do it, because instead of like most shark movies where it's got to come up under you, now it can come from anywhere, and that was cool. And there were some really good kind of kind of moments in this, but I think they're too spread out. I think again the cliches that the film has had the running time a little too much, to the point where it gets boring, and after a while you're just kind of like, okay, whatever. I think the other thing they did well and was smart is they took a page from kind of the Jaws playbook and kept the visuals of the sharks to a minimum, because they're in the dark. They're down below. You'd only get a shot of the shark like really quick, like when it's coming with the jaws open and all that. Because I always find with CGI sharks, that's the part that always looks the fakest to me. I've never watched a YouTube video with an actual shark like jumping out of the water at somebody, but all the CGI ones I see always just look fake as hell. So I think by concealing it in the darkness, it makes it easier to conceal it. You only see it for a little bit, and then it's gone. So that was well done. And again, I think the two actors, especially when you consider that they're doing it all underwater, I don't know how much of it was them and how much is the stunt people, but obviously stuff's in the cage where you're getting close-ups of them. It's them. It's the two actors, and that's got to be hard as hell, acting like that underwater. And obviously, yeah, I know they're not actually down at the bottom of the ocean, but still, that's got to be hard. So I give them a lot of credit for doing it, and I think they worked well with each other. I think you felt the relationship, and you felt, that they loved each other, and, that sisterly kind of thing. So I give them credit. This one just didn't do it for me. I had a few decent kind of, things, but I was bored through most of it, and, laughing, I think, at parts when they didn't want me to laugh, and maybe that was to, dissuade the discomfort I was feeling at certain points, but, yeah, I don't know, I don't think anyone really needs to go see this one. Unless you're like a big Shark Week fan, or you like being scared by shark movies, which, we all like to be scared by something. But yeah, I don't think this one was as clever as The Shallows. I don't think it's, I just don't think it's as good. And that's really all I have to say about it. It's a short film. It's only an hour and a half, so, or bare like 1 minute under an hour and a half. So I don't really have much to go on about with this one. So yeah, I just think it's average, a bit below average. 47 meters below average. Good tagline. Anyway, so yeah, that's this one. So I don't know what the rest of the week holds for me, but it is possible that this is going to be the last one of these for a little while. Next week, the week after this one, I'm heading back to Alaska for July. So, one, I'm not going to be going to the movies as much, and two, when I do, I'm not going to be able to upload the reviews until I get back to Tennessee, because trying to upload one of these videos with my parents' computer and my parents' dial-up, it literally takes a day to do. Last year, when I uploaded the Legend of Tarzan review to Facebook, it literally took all day with how slow my parents' computer and internet connection is. So things like Spider-Man and War for the Planet of the Apes, which I plan to see, I'm not going to be able to get any reviews online until I get back at the end of July. So if this is my last review for a while, I hope everyone has a great summer, and I hope you enjoy the movies that are coming out. I hope you enjoy these videos. If you're one of the folks who I know who watch these, kind of faithfully, I really appreciate it. And tell your friends. I'd like to get some more views, but on the whole, just have a great summer, relax, And as always, drive safe, and I'll see you at the movies.